Hello, I'm Ron Strickland. This webcast is one of a series in which I'm providing some brief lectures and commentaries on topics from the courses I teach in literary and cultural studies. In this installment, I will make some distinctions between idealist conceptions and historicist conceptions of literature. In traditional idealist theories, literature is generally assumed to be inspired by some agency outside the consciousness of the author. The inspiration may be attributed to God or to a classical muse. Or, in another typical idealist conception of the creative process, the author's original genius may be emphasized. This emphasis upon the author's creative genius is characteristic both of early 19th century Romanticism and 20th century New Criticism. Something that the inspiration-oriented and the creative genius-oriented theories share in common is that they both mystify the creative process by locating its source outside historical conditions. Idealist theories of literature commonly assume that literary meaning and literary value are fixed and universal. In other words, any competent and sensitive reader of whatever cultural experience and background should spontaneously recognize the value of a work. For idealist theories, a defining feature of the great work of literature is that it transcends its immediate historical context. By contrast, a traditional historicist conception of literature will expect the work to more or less directly reflect its historical context. Or, the relationship between literature and the historical context can be seen as a more complex one, in which literature, as it functions as an ideological discourse, actually helps to produce the historical context of which it is also a part. Historicist conceptions of literature emphasize the close relationship between literature and the national culture in modernity. This historical relationship between literature and national culture poses an ongoing challenge for teachers of literature in high schools and universities. Because whatever the function of a work of art in its original moment of production and reception, when a work is brought into the universities or the high school, when it is institutionalized and canonized, it inevitably serves the function of transmitting the dominant ideology from one generation to the next. The teaching of canonical works of literature in schools and universities obviously serves the useful function of acculturating students as citizens of the nation. But the teaching of canonical texts that may express or embrace discredited values can also have the effect of perpetuating undesirable attitudes such as sexism and racism. With that, I'll conclude this webcast. But if you have questions or comments as you're reading about and thinking about this topic, send me an email.